Start streaming and yeah, okay, that's live. So play the episode.
Start stream, and then I'll put the animation up.
And now on the BBC, 14 words.
Yes.
Can I do the channel ident?
BBC,
Hang on, it's running now.
14 words.
Welcome to 14 Words, episode 2, which I'll be listening to as I drive the new DAF XG Plus. Okay, simple little shunt mission, that's good. Just going from one warehouse to another in Gay Paris.
Welcome back to 14 Words. This is episode 3, and tonight we're going to be talking about mediums and
I'm still using the clutch.
I suppose it's sort of like not really about Doris Stokes, but Doris Stokes is like a good example of.
Well, we've decided we're going to do a separate one on the Victorian mediums because they were like a thing on their own. I think basically we're going to talk about the TV mediums.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get out of this truck dealership. And also I'm going to move the foot pedals closer to me as I can't move myself closer.
Yes, we are as far as I... Yeah.
Oh, you got
are.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
You're listening to the BPC.
That's a good idea.
I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Maybe you can re-record the audio at the beginning for me for all the shows.
Yes.
I will do it in. I will do that, and I'll do it in glorious, uncompressed, unechoey WAVs.
Yeah,
WAVs.
good. Okay. Yeah.
WAVs.
That'd be good.
Labs.
32-bit PCM uncompressed audio.
Can I do some in a Mike Reed style? And now on BPC we have...
I do like this new...
Who's the one who played Frank Butcher? That's Mike Reed.
That's Mike Reed. There's two Mike Reeds. There's Mike Reed, R-E-A-D, the one who did the racist Calypso song. And then you've got Mike Reed, the comedian, the one who's Frank Butcher.
The one who... Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah.
There we go.
Who's the one who done
Drive.
Pop Quiz? That's the
Very
first
simple
one,
drive.
That's the same Mike Reed. Do you not remember he did that UKIP Calypso or something?
I'm going to do
Yeah.
that.
Do you not remember that concept?
And he also done
Just change the angle
he also
slightly.
done the eulogy about Jimmy Savile with Frank Bruno, didn't he? Where he said that
Yeah,
Jimmy
there we go.
Savile's a really
Are we doing Grub and Soil hour 3 or?
No, we're not.
It's-
We're doing no. Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to mention Frank Bruno.
I just wanted to say I like doing idents, but I don't feel I could do it in the style of Mike Reed.
Okay,
Very,
do it in your style. I
very
want you
hot.
to do you.
Very hot.
Yeah,
so,
me too.
So on the screen now we've got
Changing audio levels
a
has
picture
been
of
a
some people
constant
doing
hallmark
some
of
sort
our
of seance.
shows.
And then we've
Oh,
got
I'm scared.
and then we've got a picture of Doris Stokes on the
I have a phobia of seances.
on the right hand
God,
side.
Hobbit
Lovely
just
Doris.
interrupts constantly.
Yeah, I
throughout the
do know.
show.
And
It's so
as soon
annoying.
as someone mentions Ouija board, it gives me the heebie-jeebies.
Really, Ouija board.
Yeah, I don't know. As soon as someone's mentioned it,
Was he
I
drinking?
don't know, that's
What?
it.
If we get into speculation later on in the show, so stay tuned to the BPC, where we will be doing speculation about this stuff, and I can tell you about my opinions on
So if
Ouija
you're wandering,
boards and manifesting
just driving
things.
and listening
So
to
what
podcasts.
actually is a medium?
This
What are we
is
talking about
14
here?
Words,
It's the
episode 2.
size between small and
Doris
that
Day,
now.
Stokes and mediums. I say
Is
episode
that bit in the
2
middle?
because
The-
episode 1.
they're
Bawley
kind of in the
Retro.
middle of real life and
That's
the
the real
spirit world.
episode 1.
Is that why they're a
But
medium?
there is an episode 1 prior to that.
Yeah,
where
I d-
it's just a
I don't-
pilot show.
I think it comes from like the artistic word medium, doesn't it?
I was
Yeah,
going to
is it
say,
your-
is it
yeah.
medium? Yeah.
Because they're a medium for spirits to do their art on.
God says don't mess
Yeah, I
with
think
it.
that's what it is. They're
Don't mess with what?
a conduit of some
Oh,
sort.
yeah.
So yeah,
Well, unfortunately,
they're both in
If-
between.
even if
I
we
think
don't
maybe
change
both
any of the
apply. But they are a
settings,
medium in
occasionally,
between
the
the
sound
two
levels
worlds.
just get some
There's
days be
also
really
something
hot, some
for
days be really
the
quiet.
spirit to
Despite
to
not
project
changing any
onto,
of the levels, that's
you know, a
that's what
medium.
makes things really inconsistent, and it's
Um,
very
They're an
annoying. So
artistic
you
medium.
actually have to do things
Yeah.
by ear. And if you're not listening to what you're doing, then...
And so the most famous
but my Sunday show's
one,
always
possibly
done by
not the
ear,
most famous now, but the
because
most famous
you
one
hear
in the
the
last
audio as
50
I
years
hear
was
it.
Doris Stokes. Really, so
Oh, she was like one of the famous 80s matriarchs. You had like Doris Stokes, Barbara Woodhouse, and Mary
let's
Whitehouse,
see.
didn't you? And they were kind of old battlaxes, weren't they?
Yeah.
So it's there.
Yeah.
But Doris Stokes was more of your kindly grandmother, wasn't she?
And I think...
Barbara Woodhouse. Oh,
Right, that's far enough. Let's go in reverse.
People don't know who that is. That's for like 80s kids. Barbara Woodhouse.
No. Forwards.
Yeah.
So Doris Stokes was
This
was
audio
more
makes
of a
me
sort
feel
of
more
celebrity
schizophrenic than
medium.
usual.
I guess.
Yeah, it's
there's been a
unusual
lot of
because-
mediums, isn't there, throughout.
Yeah, she was even
I'm
on
talking to you now,
Desert Island
but I'm
Discs.
also talking to you from the
She had a
past.
spot on Desert Island Discs.
And the most
just-
recent ones that I can think of are someone like maybe Derek Acora.
Need to reverse a
the
bit
other
more.
guy.
Why is that
what was
box
it?
green? Normally
Sally
that box
Morgan.
is
Sally
not
Morgan's
green,
like the
it's-
current darling of that scene.
Yeah.
What about Mystic Meg? Was she just a sidekick, or is she a medium as well?
So yeah, if you're wondering, this is
you know
how
what the
I
difference
actually
between
drive in real
psychics and
life.
mediums?
I listened to a podcast.
Yeah.
She was a clairvoyant, wasn't she?
I think she was.
Why not
Yeah, I think
listen
she
to
was.
some
I
I'm
thought,
gonna throw another term in. She was a clairvoyant, I think,
I thought
which
Meg.
is a different
I
thing
thought
entirely.
Mystic
isn't it?
Meg just read the stars. I think she was just.
Well, that's what I mean. She was a
astrologer.
clairvoyant, wasn't she? Clairvoyants tell the future, don't they? Whereas mediums speak to spirits. I don't think she.
Is it clairvoyance being like voyance is to see, like a voyeur?
Yeah.
And
clear-
Claire, because it's always birds that do it.
Clear, seeing. I think it means seeing clearly, doesn't it?
My
Is that
present
right?
audio is too low.
Does it?
Yeah.
Hang on. Wait a second. Let me
And
just
so,
pause it. I know what you
so
mean.
these mediums, they.
The podcast is a lot. I can't hear you over you. Yeah, I know what you mean. So I'm looking at my audio now. If I was to increase the gain any more, there we go. So that is as high as the gain on my microphone goes, and that's still in the yellow. Occasionally, it's peeking into the red. So how about that? Is that better than before? I'm also going to make the podcast quieter. Have I got controls to make the podcast quieter?
They basically relay messages
sort of.
from the
Volume
dead
mixer.
to the loved ones that the dead have left behind. And the techniques they use are.
Let's go to here.
They claim to not want to.
Right,
They don't want to know
there we
anything
go.
about
So
the
that should
person
make things a bit
before they meet
better.
them. And they sort
So
of
now,
sit
just
there.
go
If
here.
you've
Yeah,
never
I can
seen
see
if
it.
you've never
Desktop
seen one at
audio is
work
much
or
quieter
at
than
work,
my
they sort of-
microphone audio, and that's the way it
they
should
start
be.
throwing out.
You can usually catch her on like the Living Channel or something. You have to try it.
Yeah,
Right,
who's the
okay.
Fry? There's something Fry.
Colin Fry.
Colin Fry.
Fry's
Colin
in it.
Fry. I'm seeing the name Colin Fry somewhere. So Colin, yes, you're Colin Fry.
Right.
You
No,
probably,
I'm-
would
yeah.
be if you're a medium, because he's dead now. He died of cancer.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So, but
I bet he didn't see that coming.
Poor Caber's trying to do a show here. Well, this is the problem. I mean, after 2 hours of doing the shit posting, you're still in a mood to do jokes, and I'm not in the mood to be serious, and that's the problem. I think it's much better now with the Thursday format, where it's 2 hours long. Oh well. Mistakes were made, and we've all agreed to move on. No, wrong way, other way round. That's it.
I'm getting the Tyrion. And we can't Tyrion. I'm getting Britney.
I'm getting a Mohammed. I'm getting a Jamal.
Hey, Belgium's
Oh,
not a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, in the
The
second
Dutch
instance,
and the French that were living there decided, like, look, we don't particularly like either country. Let's just make our own.
Well, mind you, in
They're like, oh yeah, okay, we can
you're
get
not
away with
supposed to
this.
have sorcery. So
I think that's probably a time of social upheaval in both
What's
countries
that?
there. Probably due to Napoleon, of all people.
but there was
Suffer not the witch to live.
There was
Yeah.
a woman, a female medium who was convicted of witchcraft in 1943, I think. And
One
so
moment, I'm
she'd,
adjusting my
received a
gearbox.
message from a sailor
Gear
whose
selector
ship had
switch,
been
I should
sunk,
say.
and they tried to keep
This
they
is
covered
not a
up the ship
gearbox.
sinking because they wanted to they didn't want to ruin the morale of the people.
Wait a second.
So they kept it.
Am I doing this the right way?
This woman received
Are we
it.
gonna
So that loosens,
are we
that
gonna do a
tightens. Right.
deep dive into Dire Stakes, John?
Yeah, I'm just giving one example. Is that this one medium received a message from a dead sailor to his girlfriend back at home, and the government ended up basically convicting her of witchcraft.
Right. So
And
I'm roughly in the
witchcraft
right
just meant,
area. Let's so I
pretending
need to bring it
so scanning
towards it. Okay. And I'm going to straighten up there.
So
Bring it
yeah,
in a bit
anyway, let's
more.
go into
Okay.
some of the more famous.
So now I need all the wheels
Or
to shift horizontal so that I can strafe to the
Yeah,
left.
she actually retired for. She actually retired for a bit.
5, 6 foot.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's try this.
But then she had to retire later.
I need some experience with shunting, so no, other way.
She retired from.
Yeah, they just
It's a bit confusing. She retired and got a job, and then retired from that job and got her old job back.
yeah they just
That's
couldn't.
not going
she
to work.
couldn't
Let's just
stay
reverse
away.
a bit
She
more.
She just had to.
It's my trailer, so I don't mind if I bump it.
Right, Stokes was accused of using various forms of
Right.
deception to achieve the effect of communicating with the dead. So one of the
Imagine
things I heard
thinking
about was
Wallons
what
aren't
they do
French, but
was, obviously she had quite a
Occitans
big-
are.
I assume she was quite a big money
okay.
spinner because she had quite a big team, and what they'd do
I mean, it's
was all the
they're
letters
all
she
French
had, they'd sort
speakers
them
to me.
and put them into towns.
But that's
and
like
stuff
saying
like
our
that.
Americans
Because
English.
what would happen?
Well,
People would write to her. They'd give her a load of facts about the dead one
I mean,
they were trying to get
originally they
hold
are.
of, and she'd keep that
They are
on file and
originally
then
Anglo.
invite those same people to the event.
right, so I need to go forward
Not a bad idea, that one, though,
and
is it?
here a bit more.
No, so what is that? What's that? I mean, because there's
Stop
a
there.
technique they use called cold reading, isn't there?
Well, this is I don't know.
Yeah,
this-
pretty much.
This is
I mean, just because I've got family there doesn't mean I understand much about the history of
Yeah,
culture.
that's what I mean. So this would be something else other than cold reading. So what's cold reading?
cold reading. So,
And it's
so
like
you'd have
saying,
to say
"Oh,
out
you're
something
English?
like, say,
Name me all the
Bob.
kings of England."
Brother Bob. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure about the message. Is Bob alive or dead? Oh, my dad's Bob, and he's still alive. Oh, did he have a brother? It's
Yeah, cold reading's pretty
like
corny.
some.
Yeah. And I heard some.
Actually, there's a funny part, Trailer Park Boys, which is like that. Ricky's excuse for getting out of trouble with the police is like,
I heard some funny
you know
examples
Jim, or
about
Jim
when they
knows
spoke
you.
to some researchers.
and in Canada, everybody knows someone called Jim.
It was a woman who
So
was-
he did
who
once, he was
saying,
getting stopped by the police. It's like, you know Jim, or Jim knows you? It's like, what, Jim, my father? It's like, oh yeah,
a man
yeah,
with a
that's the
hat,
one.
a man with a
Yeah,
hat.
he plays hockey with my old man. Yeah, he told us he had a son on the force. Didn't know it was
He
you.
says he died in
Oh, okay, well, I'm going to let you off with a
And then-
warning this
and then
time,
they
but,
don't
you know,
know.
you need
It's
to
just
get
like,
that tail light checked.
Someone else.
Almost got it.
Anyone
Almost
else know
got it.
anything about someone who died in water? And they sort of fish around the crowd, looking for
What they do. I'm getting pain in the chest. So pain in the chest, people automatically think it's heart attack,
Oh,
but then
yeah,
again,
but
there might be somebody who was knifed or shot.
Henry, George, Edwin, Charles.
Yeah.
What about
No.
Alfred and
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 so
I
they
need
sort
to-
of keep
I don't
fishing
actually know what
around,
I'm doing
And if
now.
they get something wrong,
I
then
need
they
to look
say,
back
"Oh, no,
this.
this is something."
and no, wrong way. This way.
Yeah.
Your chance of going from
Either
YouTube-
that, or sometimes don't they seize on it and try to raise it to get it working into a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. One of them I listened to, he said, he's saying, I love my mum, and then the woman's like, I'm not his mum. And she's like, well,
Yeah.
how are you related to
Okay,
him?
so I
She's
need to
like,
go
"Stepmom."
forward
And
now.
he's like, the woman went,
Right, let's go forward.
no, he's definitely saying mum. He's definitely, he thinks she was his mum. And you can tell the,
Yeah.
the stepmom's thinking, when he was alive, he didn't treat me like I was. He probably didn't like her. You know, that's probably why. He topped
Also, I need to
himself.
concentrate.
Well,
so I'm
they
gonna
do.
mute my
They
microphone.
do that. Sometimes you get a really helpful audience member, don't you?
Yeah.
they're filling the blanks for the medium. You've seen those guys.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, they just where they say sort of yeah, oh yeah, no, that was my dad. Yeah, and that's sort of enough to get them going.
Yeah.
And so, what did you have with Doris Stokes? Was she sort of particularly? Was there any good stories that were sort of particularly?
Look, is there any juicy ones?
You know, because it's not just about like trying to run down Doris Stokes. She might have had some. We're just not sure.
Yeah, well, she had a big part of the book. Didn't she?
Yeah, maybe that was. Not after an hour, I think it's quite like that.
Yeah, I haven't got any good ones, but obviously she had testimonies from people like Eamon Holmes and Taylor Winston. I mean, some of it seems to be like it's kind of like comforting. A lot of people say this is like really bad, but I think it's kind of comforting in a way. Do you see that side of it, David?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I think that like their job is they're sort of
It's like grief counsellors, almost, isn't it?
yeah, but the people who do it seem to be very sort of empathetic people, and they maybe have a better understanding of other people's emotions than some of us do. So it's like a good job for them because they get to, you know, they get to help people grieve. I suppose. That's what it is, isn't
Now,
it?
mind you, you do that and you say, you know, there's these people that can read people and they say what they want to hear, basically. So they're just doing a talk. But there is some, I've done some research on some of the Hester Penning, and there's some stuff where, you know, this goes beyond cold calling, and there is some interesting stuff. So we want to get all the skepticism up. Cold reading, cold calling, potato, tomato. Yes, is there anyone here who's paying too much to the car insurance? Is someone paying too much to the car? You there? I was speaking to your deceased great grandfather. He says you're paying far too much in car insurance, and he tells you that you should switch to a more competitive.
Do you think that'd be the next one? It would be like Ali Morgan sponsored by Goku.
Oh, I'm getting a message coming through saying this seance is sponsored by Compare the Market for Seance. I don't want to take the piss out of this, but at the same time, it's so easy too. It's like smacking.
I'm enjoying this.
The TV psychics deserve it though, don't they? Because I think the TV psychics are.
Well, the thing is, I always enjoyed Mystic Meg, and she never claimed to be a medium, and I always thought she was an entertainer. And I was entertained by her.
Now I've loaded.
Well,
now
like,
I've figured out how to load.
Well, I think it's kind of what we're saying about.
I've got
Doris
the basic
Stokes.
principle down. I just need more
She was a comforter,
experience
wasn't
and
she? She
being
wasn't
able.
a,
So
I
with the experience, I can more accurately judge the geometry
if you're one of
what
those
I'm
like
trying to
audience
do
type
there.
thing, you just talk to someone and comfort them about somebody who's just passed. I mean, is that really malicious?
No, that signal.
No, well, I mean, you could say you're parting a fool from their money, but it was their money to part with to begin with, so...
Yeah.
I think the only, because I think these people are more, like I say, more empathetic. They can feel how someone else feels better than understand. So they play a role in helping people sort of come to terms with
Shift the chair.
and maybe
'cause
letting them,
got a bit
you know,
crick in the neck.
get a bit of a closure. Open and close quotes, you know, that over someone that may
Not
have died
touching
too quickly
curb,
or
not
too
touching
soon.
curb.
Didn't really get to say goodbye to their son.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to do something
can
now.
also-
Well, that's what,
It can also
that's what I
hold
want to
back.
say.
Go on, sorry.
Well, that's what I was going to say. This could get into the speculation later, but I do question, I think others do question as well, like,
That's
what
it,
is
adjust
it you're
mirrors.
actually talking to? What is
So-
it the mediums are channeling?
Yeah.
Are they channeling your loved
Okay,
ones
so
who are
you can
hanging
still-
around just to tell you these
Yeah.
messages? Or is there something else going on? And
Yeah, we can get into that in a bit. Yeah, but I think
Very interesting. So the cameras, which are the mirrors in this DAF XG Plus, are adjustable. Very interesting.
One of the programs I listened to, watched.
Anyway, I need to get in gear now.
A woman and her husband who just keep paying to go and see these mediums. They just want to.
Right, nothing there. Clear to proceed.
Have they not got through to him yet, or they just want to keep
they have, but every time these new mediums are in town, they go hoping that this time they're going to get through to him again. So they've got through to him a couple of times, but it's just sort of hanging on.
Well, that's kind of
weighing down.
It shouldn't be like that. It should be you go along, Doris reads your name out. She tells you something nice about your loved one, and then you can kind of move on knowing that they're at peace or whatever. I think that kind of, I think it's unhealthy on both. It can be unhealthy on both sides, can't it?
Yeah, and yeah. Well, I mean,
I can't see what's coming to the right, but I'm just going to try. No, don't do that. Good. He didn't.
Because I think like the like when you go to like a theatre or something and they've got the medium on. So you pay 20 quid, you have a night out at the theatre, you get entertained. Might have someone speak to your loved one, you might get a bit of closure. I think the one-to-one stuff where
there's the
£100
depot coming up, so I haven't got that far to go. Literally just one side of Paris to the other.
Yeah, and
it's almost like gambling as well. I mean, they say when the fun stops, and they're just like, they say that, but at the same time, their business is based on identifying whales, as in like you keep that person coming back because they're the one who spends thousands of pounds here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the other ones I listened to.
Let's go and park this.
It got so bad.
That's going to be tricky.
He was saying that he could
but
do consultations by.
No more tricky than trying to get a trailer into a supermarket. So let's go for it. So I've got to reverse into it, then turn around. So I'm going to go forward. I'm going to do a U-turn.
And they're telling me this information about their loved ones over the email.
And I'm going to have to use the mirror on the right-hand side in order to see what I'm doing. I can't lean my head out the window.
New level of like unbelievability.
Yeah, it's like do your gig at the local working men's club or whatever, and just be happy with that. Otherwise, you're just being greedy I suppose in a way they're kind of like psychic vampires.
It's really dark, so I can't actually see what I'm doing.
Feeding off of people's loss.
Yeah, I mean, certainly they're charlatans, but I mean, when you're saying all this stuff, I'm listening to it and thinking to myself, that's unbelievable, because I think they're so instinctual. I mean, it's certainly in the audiophile world where we say, oh yeah, digital doesn't sound right, digital's not good, I like analog, I like my vinyl, blah,
right,
blah,
I got if you're wondering what's going on, listening to a classic 14 words whilst I drive.
If you look up the Skull Experiment, look on YouTube, you'll see it. He was getting voices through on his valve radio, and various experiments were done, including putting the valve radio in a Faraday cage, unplugging it so it wasn't powered on, removing most of the components, including all of the valves, and yet voices were still coming through.
If I was driving, I'd be listening to a podcast.
And I think to myself, that is like a modern or 20th century equivalent of the crystal ball. It's a prop to manifest the medium's ability.
Yeah, something to focus, something they can focus on.
Because this chap's valve radio, it wouldn't give ghostly voices unless he was present, holding it and touching it.
So did they put him in the Faraday cage with the radio?
Yeah, they sealed him in the Faraday cage so that no radio waves could get in or out, and yet voices were still coming through, and I thought that was absolute...
As I was saying, I've been to Skull, and it's quite a weird place because it's a place that's got next to no mobile phone signal.
Oh yeah, you said that in private, but you didn't say that to the benefit of our audience.
So what's that?
Yeah.
Repeat that again.
Right, straighten it out.
There's next to no mobile phone signal there. It's kind of
is a real
it's remnants of mixing with your
Yeah, I don't miss Hemi's classic audio.
It's
The gremlins are pissing on your connection.
Yeah, you're really breaking up.
I'll back in a sec.
Go forward a bit.
Yeah, so, but I'm going to say what Hemi said there, and he can fill in the gaps if I missed anything.
Okay,
but
alright, let's
he
try
went
this a
to
different way and
Skull,
see if it's
there's
possible.
no signal there
Just
whatsoever.
mirrors.
What's Skull?
And-
Sorry, what is Skull?
And I'm still there. Skull's a village. It's out towards on the A11, so it's like Cambridgeshire / getting on.
Right, let's do that. Okay.
And what actually is it?
No.
What's this going to do?
It's just a small town. It's just like
Can I-
It's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and it's got a really nice big stone built building.
No. So, other way.
The
It's gotta be
reason
like
I
that.
mention it and why we mention it is because in my investigations into mediumship, that's what they call medium-imming. One of the things that came up with a skull experiment where a scientific approach was done to mediumship to try and
I
do
know,
double-blind
yeah.
experiments to make sure there's no tampering or conjuring tricks being used, and to investigate the authenticity of it. And so there were these various mediums would come together in Skull to do.
Now I've got a
readings
mirror
of
whilst
spirit
looking
people,
out.
and they would get
Like I've got
voices coming
comedian
through
voice.
on speakers, as well as just manifesting into the room. And what do I find? Yeah, he's actually been there, and there's no phone signal. So I suspect that it's one of those
Okay.
radio
So let me
sounds.
think.
And
If I steer
I believe that radio signals,
this way.
especially the modern higher
Yes,
energy
that's
ones,
it, I've got to steer this way.
not radio waves,
actually got
DAB,
steer the other
radio,
way.
television,
No,
and
that's right.
wireless
I was steering the
internet,
right way.
all
Okay.
suppresses
Am I
people's
going to touch that
psychicality.
trailer though?
Okay. I think that's.
I
that's
think
an
I am.
interesting,
Just gently inch it.
Well, I think
Yeah,
we'll
it's
be talking.
This is the
It's
bit
also
where
got
in
some
real
really
life
old
I get
places
out
in
of the
there. It's a
cab
place
and have a
where,
look, see how
Charles
close I
II
am.
17th century former coach.
That's
unit.
touching. Yep. Okay. Go
It's
forward
got
a
a
bit.
staircase that was hand carved in the 1600s. That's the Skull Inn.
Oh,
where I've
lovely.
been to.
I've got to
Right,
visit
so
at
that's
some
done.
point because I've always meant to visit Cambridge.
So
No,
It's-
no.
Oh, it's this. It's a bit, but I think it's a bit further up.
So what are the sort of general
Right.
theories?
So now let's just
on,
reverse, fully straight.
on what mediums do and how they work, and what sort of stuff have you read? While we've been
I'm curving it.
researching
Curve it the
to
other way.
Sort of explain their power.
Right. Straight.
All right,
Straight.
so
Straight.
I don't know anyone that's done a better explanation of
Yes,
this.
I
but
know,
My
air
take
pressure is
from
low.
it is that they are a conduit for something.
Right.
I don't know what the
bend,
something is.
Bend other
That's-
way. Bend
that's
other
where
way. Bend other
speculation
way.
starts. And they channel
it.
this
That's it.
something, and it can do all sorts of things. The very skilled ones, their voice even starts to become the actual voice of the deceased
Right.
person.
Okay. Now.
Like Derek Acora when he says Mary loves Dick.
Mary loves Dick,
Mary loves Dick. Mary loves Dick.
and oh, what's that, Sam? You're not from Utah. You're from Ethiopia. Oh,
Derek
Sam.
Acora had an Indian spirit
and your
guide
name's
called
still
Sam.
Sam. Oh, okay, it's still Sam. Okay, that's good.
Indian as in
Sorry,
plains
sorry,
Indian,
I was
not
a
curry
racist,
Indian.
Sam. I saw your brown skin and I just thought you must be a red Indian.
So why did I keep seeing feathers? Oh, it's because you used to chase after chickens. I used to. Oh, I can't say that out on the radio. No, Sam, that's not part of our culture.
I did enjoy Derek
but
Acora.
What
Whatever
are the
happened to
actual?
him? Did he die?
Are we going to talk about Derek Acora?
Derek Acora.
I don't know whether these.
I'll have to check, see if
don't know
I've done
whether
an
these people,
episode
they're
about
kind
Derek
of like
Acora.
genuine mediums, where they're kind of like a beacon for like wandering spirit. Because there's a few theories about spirits that people that die prematurely are kind of.
Right,
they
that's it.
think
I'm in.
they might-
Okay.
you
Switch
get
engine
some
off, unload.
spirits To think they're still that aren't sure whether that
Ah,
don't know maybe
there we
have
go.
to.
Well, that's what I think with these. They happen. It's just when someone dies suddenly, it's not a clean break from living, and therefore is a shadow or a remnant that's left. I don't know whether
Paris to
that remnant's left on the
Swansea.
psyches of loved ones that more, or if it's something physical, if it's something, say for example, the items they held on to, but relatives died a while ago, and
No, I want to
I
do
used to
a
have
short
dreams
one.
of him, and I was never really
Short
that
one, so I
close
got
to him,
more
but I saw him
experience
in
with
my
shunting.
dreams, and I believe that was him. So I suspect these mediums, for whatever reason. Now, what I think's happening.
I also wouldn't whether the families can keep it, because they can't let them go, if you know what I mean. They can't accept.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm going to say. The mediums, I think, because
Let's
they
turn
do
the,
it often in their own
mirror
home.
aids
The
off.
mediums don't do house visits, so I suspect what's happening is they're picking up. They're not just reading the person and saying, "Ah, yeah, you're grieving. It's a recent loss, blah blah blah." I think there's actually something like a shadow which follows people, and that's what they're picking up on.
Do you think
I wonder if that's got anything to do with someone's aura.
telekinetic?
That's something I didn't think about back then, but
Well, all mediums are psychic, but not all psychics are mediums. So telekinesis.
That's what I'm saying. Is these people aren't really getting messages from dead people; they're getting messages from the living, but they don't actually know the difference between the two.
Well, that's the thing, you see, because some of them say, it's definitely spirits and they're around afterwards, which I find distressing, because I'd like to think that once I'm dead, I'm allowed to rest in peace. And that's why I think you're supposed to prepare for death in certain ways, by making sure that all your affairs are tied up, so that when you're dead, you're not like, I'm dead and now I can't do anything about this, and that.
Oh no, I didn't pay that gas bill.
I didn't stab that neighbour who really pissed me off, and I've been meaning to do violence to him.
Oh no, I was in for the Reader's Digest prize draw, but I never posted the letter off. Oh no.
Did I leave the oven on? Oh yeah, I did. That's how I died. Oh shit. But there's certain things with that where I think to myself, it's like there's definitely stuff which is left in people which were attached
yes,
to the
I
dead.
know. I've got my main
There's
beams on. That's why he's
objects
flashing
which
me.
can get imbued with their energy. Because the thing is, people don't really think about it, but when you sort of walk around, you definitely leave a trail. You leave skin cells, you leave BO, you leave
Some more
not
than
just
others.
smells, but there's definitely other traces you leave. Immediately I just start thinking like, yeah, some people walk around and they leave a bad smell.
Well, we spoke about this last week, didn't we? When we said about the various type of spirits. You get intelligent hauntings, and you also get stone tape theory, don't you?
Yeah.
Remind me again what stone tape means.
It's just basically there was an event that was so
Right.
significant that
I've been to this depot before, just about 10 minutes ago.
the area around
So
it kind of
I know what
records
to
it,
do.
just replays it. So they're not an intelligent
So I
spirit;
get
they're
to
just a
about there.
replay of something that
Stop.
happened.
Yeah. So
Reverse.
it gets imbued in the very. That's what I'm saying. There's certain objects which are imbued with the owner's essence, and so there are psychics which can touch an object and they'll get a glimpse of the person's life before.
Well, there's a thing about buying second-hand engagement rings and wedding rings, isn't there?
Well, yeah.
That can be bad luck.
Well, yeah, because how do they become second-hand?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, also as well, there's a hell of a lot of emotion that goes in.
No, got to go forward.
Into a wedding ring that's years, doesn't there? Every emotion you can think of.
Funny enough, I saw this cartoon the other day, and if anybody gets the reference, then you are truly a man of culture. I'm not going to mention its title, but there was a point in them they were talking about how the city has a heart, and the character was saying to one of the other ones in it, saying that, well, look, people come and go, and it's a bit like synapses connecting in the brain. Some connections more permanent than others, like a really good memory. And other ones weren't meant to be, and eventually they sort of they come apart after the purpose was served. Cities are like that as well.
Yeah,
You've
it's
got
above
electricity
sober, though.
going through these various junctions and nodes and telephones.
Some
And
relationships
therefore, in the
are
heart of
very
a city,
strong
you've got a
and
heart.
it takes a
because
lot to
There's
break.
enough complexity and
Others are
information
flimsy and
where
break
it
easily.
has a brain, and where there's a brain, there must be a heart. And I thought that was a very nice way of describing things, but you've got systems where enough energy or intention has been focused onto it that it will have a psychic imprint. So the stone tape theory, what you're saying, that is like yesterday when I was mentioning about Ackerman Street. There's a place not too far from me where you can still see Roman legionaries walking at a waist high in the road, which has been paved over for the past 2,000
they'd be
years.
they'd be stone tape because they are waist height, whereas if they're intelligent, they'd be above ground, and you wouldn't have that many spirits intelligently haunting, would you? It just wouldn't be likely.
I mean, this is the other thing, because funny enough, I heard this of blacks. There tends to be a lot of like dead rapists and dead black men that are very angry because they die and they're angry, and they're not prepared to go yet because they still want to seek revenge against those that bested them in the drive-by or the no lacking challenge. And so a lot of these ghosts, I mean, I think this is why people get haunted by them, is because they died in poor circumstances. All that they have left animating them is rage and grief. And it is incredibly disturbing for other people, because I think part of the haunting is like, shit, if
In
I don't
addition
get
to
my
that, I
fares in
would
order,
say
that'll be
that
my
some of
fate
these
as well,
creatures,
until
which
someone
might be
comes
called
along to
ghosts,
exercise.
were never
But
human
this is
in
where
the first
we're veering
place.
off
They're
from the subject
demons.
mediumship, but I just think it's important that we have the context of what is it that the mediums are
Right.
reading.
Try
because
not
that's
to mount the
I'm
curb
very
whilst
interested
trying
in.
not to hit
Well,
oncoming
according to the
traffic.
Bible, they're actually speaking to demons, aren't they?
Well,
Oh,
that
there you
is
go.
one of my things I'm speculating. There's demons that masquerade as the loved ones telling people what they want to hear.
Ah, so even back
you,
then
you
I
don't really know
thought
who you're
that thing.
communicating with. And I think if you really genuinely did have a loved one, and they're communicating to you for, say, through a radio, crystal orb, patterns in the sky, or through a medium, then you should do your damnedest to exercise them and make sure that they have their final rest and peace, so that they're not stuck in limbo and they got their afterlife, heaven.
So, what's and so what do you sort of what's both
Right.
of your sort of general
I get a feeling he's going to go. Yes, he is.
sort of summary on whether this is a real thing, or what sort of mediums are actually doing?
I think if a medium's on telly or they're doing stage tours, I think they're most probably a cold reader or a charlatan.
Yeah, and I do believe. I mean, there's some mediums that have gone on, and of course, there's been plenty of skeptics on it, because they always feel there's a need to, balance this with we must have a skeptic on to, or really just a cynic to just say.
Oh, speaking of skeptics, I did watch it. Did you ever see the TV series called Haunted Homes?
Yeah.
Oh,
Did
no.
you ever see that? Did you ever see that one where the Chris French, the skeptic, he went into this attic, his arse barely touched the floor, and he got up and went out against it. Oh, there's nothing in
Right,
it.
I've been here
I
before,
swear to God that he had
so
an
I
experience.
definitely
and that's why he
know
legged it
what's
out
going
of
to
there.
happen.
Oh, fair enough. I was going to say there's something
Right.
about that show which just really rubbed me up the wrong way, and I just thought, no,
Okay.
this is cheating.
Yeah, it was a bollocks
So I'm
Latin,
gonna
wasn't
put
it? I
the
think
mirror-
it was probably part of it.
The mirror's back
Oh,
on.
I didn't even know about that. There was just something about which I really just thought to myself, like, no, this is not the right way to go about it. This is just wrong.
Yeah.
But my take on it is that mediums, they're accessing something.
And I
they're
know
accessing this
from previous
aura,
time,
shadow, whatever
gotta
it is
do
around
this.
the person or object
I can
they've
do
been
it.
told to read. And those that are getting electronic voice phenomena, and are able to get these voices from electric devices, those ones, I believe the medium is being a conduit for these energies, and it's manifesting in an energetic way, I should say, not just in terms of audio, because there has been experiments done where mediums have put their hands or been sat near a roll of photographic film, and then faces have
Turn,
appeared on that film
turn,
afterwards.
turn. I turn too slow.
Yeah.
And
And some of the faces have been identified
but that's
and
okay.
recognised.
as long as I don't touch the
including
pallets over there,
signatures as well.
which it looks
I think
like I'm
one of
going
them,
to.
what was his name? He was a
Let's keep
musician.
turning and see what happens.
Ivan Novello. Ivan Costello?
Ivan Novello, yeah, he did there's that music award, isn't there?
I missed it, overshot. So let's go
Novello,
forwards.
wasn't he?
Yeah, and his signature appeared in one of the Scald experiments with the
Yes,
film.
good
Just
afternoon.
to sort
It's
of
not
know
yet
that.
evening,
What do you
Winston.
think to these old girls that
At least not
that
for us.
channel
Although, if you're in
Beethoven
Paris,
or something?
it is
They
evening.
bang out another symphony. What do you think to those people?
Right.
You've got to ask a music expert if it's really Beethoven or if it's
Yeah.
symphony.
I think that
something else.
they tend to just like make music that sounds just like Beethoven, or they make paintings that look just like Picasso.
So it's a forgery.
Whoever it is they're channeling.
But
But
forgery is
The thing is
unauthorized
with these
copy.
musicians and these artists is that
And if it's a
they
new
didn't actually
composition,
just
like
make
if you
music
did
that sounded
something in the
like
style
them,
of
they sort
Picasso,
moved through
but it's not a
time
Picasso
as well,
original,
so
that's not a
they didn't reach
forgery.
a point where they said, I'm just going to write a
So-
piece of music that sounds just like a piece
Parody?
of music I've written before. You know, so what I'm suspicious of with these people is that they
Yeah, I mean Beethoven's fifth and seventh are quite different
Yeah.
compositions.
yeah, but you could sort of pick a general feel to his music, but he couldn't do that because he wasn't like looking at it 50 years later as a body of work. He was living
You're
in
gonna
that
touch,
moment and he
move
was making,
forward.
you know, we don't know
Well,
we don't know what Jimi
So you don't
Hendrix
believe?
we don't know what Jimi Hendrix would have gone on to make. We don't know what Jim Morrison would have gone on to make. You know, if Jim Morrison had discovered a synthesizer in 1974 and hadn't died, you know, he might have gone on to make really out of this world electronic music. But so for someone to say,
I think
Jim
you
Morrison,
only have to look at the ones that did survive, like the Stones and Robert Zimmerman and people like that. That you know, it just ends up crap, doesn't it?
yeah. So,
Funny enough, I mean, this sort of harkens
live
back
long
to
enough to
the
be a
Grub and Saw
dick.
we were doing earlier, but
Or,
Boards of Canada was saying that one of the
die.
things they're always worried about in their music is if it goes too far in a certain direction, it doesn't sound like their signature. Will the fans like it? And that's why, of all their stuff which they're worried doesn't sound like their brand, they've done it as a side project, like Hell's Interface. And I thought to myself, it's very strange that an avant-garde band like that should be worried about
Paris
what
to
their fans
Dresden?
thinking with, like, oh, well, this doesn't sound like one
Paris
stuff
to
they've
Geneva.
done previously.
Yeah, let's do
But
that.
there is something now. The thing is, with music, it's very subjective, as is as art. But one of the things which should be much more, and I really would have liked him to get into the specifics of this, but it was a medium who was channeling a cosmologist who was speaking with a skeptic. Well, he wasn't a skeptic. He was more like an expert witness
The
in
old creaky
cosmology and
chair.
astronomy.
Rest in
And
peace,
he was
creaky
describing
chair.
concepts to him and using technical English to describe terms. I don't know what the jargon is for describing star stuff, but he was doing
Astronomy?
it. And the medium had no formal education in astronomy or anything like astrophysics. And the expert said, there's only about 6 people in this country that are my peers who would understand what these concepts were. And I find it really...
Oh, okay.
because
so you're
if he'd
gonna
just
go
done
into
the
that
word
junction at the
salad,
same
he'd be
time?
like, yeah, well, this very fancy, but it made no sense. You know, it's like listening to Russell Brand on the Truths. He's saying, what he's actually saying is making sense. And I don't believe someone that's just, a shelf stacker in Accrington Stanley, who's now a medium,
I love
could get these
Accrington
concepts.
Stanley.
So with stuff like that, it's a bit more more verifiable. It's a bit more concrete. It's more binary. It's not like, well, sounds a bit like Beethoven, but is it really Beethoven?
Here's another one I'll throw into the mix. And is it a
no,
possibility that they can somehow access past lives, and it's not necessarily mediumship?
Yeah, but what if it's like someone that's recently deceased within the medium's lifetime? But then what if the medium is accessing lives in a non-linear time thing? So it's not just past life, but it's also future lives. And in which case, why can't I just be like, hey, in 8 years' time, this is what the lottery numbers are going to be?
Well,
That'd be an interesting bet to do, actually. Just say, in 80 years' time, this is going to be lottery. I'm going to put a really long bet, and I'm going to designate this person, gets the lottery and also wins the bet. What are the odds on that?
phenomenal.
Astronomical. I don't think they'd take the bet.
Well, would they be able to afford to pay it out?
So one of the theories I've got
let me in.
on how they work.
Let me in. Right, there we go.
They're actually just
Wow, you took a long time to
looking
open
up
that gate.
details of the person's
Oh,
life from
right.
the loved one, because they never seem to actually tell you anything that you didn't
that's
know
a real
already, so.
Yeah, it never
Jeez,
it never
how do I
seems to
do
go
that?
beyond like, oh, this was his favourite hat, or he used to take you here.
Yeah,
It
he used to
yeah.
swear a lot. He used to drink cider. All these,
Yeah.
and they sort of just they confirm something that the person already knew. So I think there might be a genuine paranormal effect happening. But I think it's
All right, let's
might
get
be
the
something closer to like.
let's get the
their
mirrors
psychic.
again.
They've got a psychic
Right,
ability.
mirrors.
Their mind reading. Or something. Some
No,
of the better
wrong
ones.
way.
I think some of the worst ones are just cold reading and all the rest of it. But
Yeah.
In the case of the
Straighten,
medium who
straighten,
was channeling
straighten.
the recently departed cosmologist, do you think, seeing as they would have been Pearson associates, and therefore there would have been a connection between the live one and the dead one, the medium was actually just picking up on the signal, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the energetic trace of that person's life.
The shadow.
I mean, there
spiritual
is
shadow
some
of the
psychic phenomenon
departed
going on there.
on an
But
associate
again, I really just
colleague.
have to say this for the fact that I really hope spirits, when you're dead, that's it, you're dead. But it's only when something traumatic or something's happened that a shade, not you, but like an imprint of you.
Like a
is
stain
in-
left on somebody else's soul.
What I'm trying to say is that when I'm dead, I hope that's it. I really, I'm going to need a few centuries to get over this lifetime.
Or
The gremlins are fucking up again.
Internet.
move
Look,
on to
touch the trailer. Right,
How
let's
do you
go
say it again?
forward and see if
or
I
at
can-
least you move on. Are they? Oh,
Ah,
Hello.
have you tried turning it off and
sorry.
on?
I've turned it off and on again. Yeah, what was I saying? Oh, no, it's gone. now.
Do they move on to a different thing?
Just moving on to the next. I mean, I hope we move on to the next plane. So I certainly don't fancy coming back here in 30 years' time. Do you?
Ugh, no, no.
But
Maybe in 120 years' time, when the Chinese and us have got like some intersolar colonies, that would be
Yeah.
interesting.
But what they do, so they never say something like, oh, all that gold that I saved up over my life is all hidden in that box at the bottom of the garden underneath that shed that I built 20 years ago. Or, oh, the so-and-so murdered me. That person, your next door neighbour murdered me. You never get these sorts of messages from
Scrape
these
against
dead
the
people, these
fence.
apparently dead people. So
It's a
only
chain link
Oh,
fence. It's
have you
flexible.
never seen Sensing Murder? It's a New Zealand program.
Forwards.
no.
Scrape the
Don't worry,
tires
my sheep.
forwards.
That's quite a good one. That's where
Oh no.
that's where they literally
I'm
take
looking at
cold
myself.
cases from the police
but
and try
that is
to
bizarre.
Yeah,
and
but
use psychics to try and find.
That's sort of remote viewing, and there's loads of evidence for remote viewing, which is where people.
No, they actually go to the they speak to the spirits and stuff like
No,
that.
no,
Yeah, but
come
what
on,
I mean
come on.
is that there is loads of evidence for remote viewing being a thing that you can. That they've
Yeah.
solved cases by people honing in on target areas and visiting spaces in time and all this sort of thing. So there is loads of evidence.
I'm not
for
saying
that,
this is
but,
impossible, but like if this
it's-
was real
it's the
life,
sort
I'd
of,
just be like,
spirit
you
world
know
thing
what?
that I'm really,
Get some
really
other driver to
dubious
do
of,
it.
because like where do these people hang around? Like where do they?
You
do
know,
they need
I
to
need
go
a more
wee?
experienced
Do they
driver
need-
to
do
say,
they have
this
eat
is how to
something?
do it.
If they wear clothes, do they need to wash their clothes? Like, do they, because they sometimes describe them as wearing a dress or wearing a hat. Does the hat get dirty? Do they ever take the hat off again? Is
I
it
don't care anymore. I'm going to scrape
head?
against that tree. Yeah, that's
Is
it.
the hat
Slam it out of the way.
hair in at any time? Does the hat wear out? Do they Do they have to go back somewhere?
Look
after
at that
they visit
accurately modelled water
the
physics.
medium, and the medium said goodbye to them. Where do they go then? Do they just sort of hang around and?
Yeah, I kind of assume they just kind of shuffle around and wait for.
So why do they need clothes? Why do they need?
Yeah.
If you've died of cancer, do you look like the time? Do you look like you did when you died of cancer? Do you look like a different time? Do you look like
I think it
a
tends to
happier
look
time?
like. I don't know. I think it must depend on the person, because I think some people. I don't know. I mean, what happens to babies? What happens to aborted? Things like that.
Yeah, exactly. So do they? Why do you never see? Why do you never get spirits of like loads of cavemen who died through really brutal deaths? Where they were just clubbed to death using a fucking rock or something.
Clubbing was
I
popular
suppose
back in
if
Stone
the,
Age
If
times.
the medium doesn't understand caveman, they can't relay a message.
Yeah, but I've heard a medium.
And who would a caveman want to talk to?
I've heard a medium channeling a giant. So how does she understand the giant? She said, his language is totally different to ours. But I've heard mediums channeling giants. I listened to a medium channeling Adolf Hitler earlier on. So Adolf Hitler speaks German. So did this woman have to speak German or Austrian?
They're speaking the universal language which transcends all mortal languages.
Esperanto.
Esperanto.
Yes, Derek Okora speaks Esperanto to Sam, his spirit guide.
So wouldn't the caveman speak that universal language that transcends all language? So where did we draw? Where does the cut-off point happen? Why doesn't anyone ever sort of why isn't there loads and loads of Red Indian ghosts haunting all of these Europeans? Why are Europeans in America only haunted by European ghosts? Why do they only get European spirits?
Well, it tends to be civil war ghosts.
Yeah.
Maybe it speaks to being from a different religion.
What's that? Sorry.
Maybe
Different culture.
Maybe being is the thing.
You're breaking up, can't you?
The gremlins really don't want him to talk to them, do they?
No.
No, it's like, what have you done to upset the pixie folk?
So yeah, so they sort of what I would like to see, an experiment I'd like to see, is that they get the medium and they put the medium in a Faraday cage.
Let's try again.
And,
I will get
then
this.
They just bring in some random people, and they get the medium to just write down.
Pressing on the clutch is redundant in an automatic.
10 observations about 2 of the people that are visiting them in the spirit world, about those people who are outside the room, of whom they know nothing about. So an experiment like that, if you could get a hit rate of say over 50%, I'd be impressed by it. But I get the impression that you probably would get a hit rate a lot lower than that, which would mean it's just working with chance.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. This is one of the things which is so dissatisfying in this, is that there is a lot of charlatans in it, which gives the entire thing a bad. It gives it a bad image, and this is why I like when Hemi commissioned me. Oh, he didn't pay me anything, but I'm not sure if commission's the right word. When Hemi put the task to me to research mediumship, I just thought, I don't want to. It's just going to be reading a long list of charlatans, and I really dislike debunking websites. The term debunking I find offensive.
Yeah.
And then I thought, actually, you know what? There's a few kernels of truth amongst all this chaff, and Rupert Sheldrake's had stuff to say about it, because he's one of these scientists who is willing to research.
Let's try the differential lock.
Unfortunately, there's a peer consensus amongst scientists. They're quite dogmatic, and because they're the ones who have a say, seeing as they have expert opinions on where the grant money should go, grant money does not go to researching the paranormal. What I do find interesting about this is in places like China, where they have different views on things to us. Funny enough, what with them,
because prehistory is a psyop. Yeah.
Over there,
I don't think
the
men
body's
ever did
energy
live in
flow
caves.
is considered a serious
Unless
avenue
there
of
was,
research. And Falun Gong, one of the reasons it's a prescribed religion over there is because it talks about focusing chi. Now, what I find interesting about that is Shaolin monks also practice channeling their chi flows, and they do some quite physical feats with it, such as throwing a needle at a pane of glass with such force it makes the glass shatter. And that is... It's sort of... But this is the thing, they're channeling chi in order to do that. It's not just physical muscles with chemical impulses doing it. And yet the Chinese government sanctions that form of chi research. Maybe because Shaolin is traditional, whereas Falun Gong is not.
Iron Fist from...
Iron Fist?
Yeah. He focuses chi into his fist in the comic.
Oh,
So
okay.
he can have the Iron Fist.
It's going to
But
touch
does
the damn
China
trailer.
prescribe Iron Fist, or is it prohibited or prescribed?
Well, only one
So-
would be the Iron Fist, so...
I mean,
care
I don't want to
anymore,
get
just
too
barge
much of a
past the
tangent
damn
on it,
thing.
but I even heard that
I'm getting frustrated
Bruce
now.
Lee got killed by various Chinese people because they didn't want him teaching kung fu to non-Chinese. But you know, that's neither here nor there. The point is, we're talking about mediumship, and that there is definitely something going on here. And what fascinates me is the usage of props in order to do the channeling or the seancing. So Ouija boards are seance boards. They're a form of prop, but I'm particularly fascinated in the idea of using valve radios.
Well, that's what I was... That's... Well, what I was going to say, well...
Hemi. Oh boy.
Isn't it funny? As soon as Hemi tries to say something, it blanks out.
What I was
No, it's nothing spooky about
I
that.
say before I took a dump on.
You heard that, Kaber?
Rough, not really. No.
Well, no, I mean, as soon as Hemi was about to say anything, apart from just prefacing
No,
what I'm
I
saying
did
was,
buy a legit
it cuts
copy
out.
of Euro Truck
And I'm
Simulator 2.
Hey, this must say a lot.
It
I must
goes
be
on
some
sale
sort of
fairly
psychic blank
often,
or
and I
blunt
think
or
I got it for
something,
like
because
£5.
whenever I
And
talk
you know
about
what?
this stuff, nothing
I'm close
bad
enough in the
happens,
loading
so
bay. I've given
obviously
up
I'm
now.
not important.
The
So I could just carry on talking.
forklift
with my
operator can come to
Durbrain
me.
takes, and it just, you
Right,
know,
so there we
YouTube
go.
will just be, we're not banning any of this stuff because, you know, it's. No, I'm being a bit too. What's the
I've
word?
got to go in about 10
Because
minutes
this is the thing,
or
I
so.
have an open mind about this
which
stuff.
is-
I've
I
had
need more than 10
experiences in my
minutes to
life
do this
which
thing.
are paranormal,
Right. I
and
hate this
because
one.
of that,
This part's a real
I'm
bitch
intrigued
to
in
get
this.
around.
But I'm disappointed. It seems to be this thing that either people
Come on,
have got
open
or
up,
they
you
haven't.
fucker.
And it almost makes me wonder, maybe some sort of breeding program should take place where
Oops.
people
Sorry for hitting
that
the
do
mic.
have psychic ability should pair up with one another.
Fuck off.
However, that might not be a good idea. Do you know why?
Because if everybody was psychic, it would be really embarrassing.
Well, yeah, yes and no, and you'd probably get a lot more actual demon manifestations.
Fuck
if
you.
There's a lot more psychic sensitivity in the world. It seems, well, for a start, most psychics are female, and most psychics have had a history
Hopefully
of
I've
childhood
deselected
abuse
the
or trauma.
differential.
A lot of them have autoimmune diseases and suffer
If
from
frustrated
migraines.
style driving, considering
That's only in
how
the
much of a
modern day,
bitch
though,
that
isn't it? So I
was,
don't
I'm
think
just
that
like,
that's
no,
really-
I'm
I don't think
angry
that's
now.
really true
And you
for,
shouldn't drive when
say,
angry.
Victorian mediums, which we'll be covering
But
Victorian mediums.
with this long
So,
queue,
I think that maybe,
Okay.
maybe that's quite
no,
a modern day
sorry,
phenomenon.
these potted plants are more important than you guys are.
Different.
I just,
Well-
I want to get on the motorway, I want to get moving so I
That
can relax.
weakness could be.
When did the understanding of autoimmune diseases come through, where people's like, oh, you have this immune system, and occasionally it attacks the body
Right,
because
so-
it misidentifies it as a pathogen or a germ?
Well, I mean, when did
Right, I think
science
I've
become the dominating factor?
I've unlocked
in
the
all of our lives?
differential.
Probably
So
past the
let's
Victorian
see if that
time.
makes a
So,
difference.
What I
So-
meant to say is
See if I
that
get
in
any
the
warning
Victorian era with
messages.
these mediums and times before that,
yeah.
were people able to say, oh yeah, there's definitely something wrong with them, or they're very sick? Would there have been some sort of qualifier that, I mean, we wouldn't have the specific terms like, oh, you have Hodgkin's lymphoma, or Hodgkin's lymphoma is not an autoimmune disease, it's a type of cancer, but what I'm trying to say is that I think there's some commonality amongst mediums, and I believe being able to be psychically sensitive.
I wasn't complaining when I did
makes
that
these
corner,
people
so I
sick.
think I've
I
now
don't
turned
think it's
the
good
diff
for a
lock
healthy
off.
body.
I think that I think that there's, well, my opinion is that there's two different types of
Right, there we go. Here's the motorway. Now I can relax for a bit.
paranormal people.
At least until
There's people who get affected by it, and there's people who are affected by it. And so
at least for 10 minutes.
There's always been.
And I've got to go away for a bit, then I'll come back.
Well, I mean, they turn it inwards or they turn it upwards. So some people can turn it inwards and heal themselves, and some people can turn it upwards and heal others. So people who can turn it inwards can also harm themselves, and people who can turn it upwards can also harm. But they're not necessarily good at doing it the other way round, you know. So someone who can turn these powers outwards isn't necessarily good at turning the powers inwards, or they can't do it at all.
I do wonder about this, because I'm starting to wonder if these mediums, now it starts off earlier in their life, but what if it's that dealing with these people who often seek solace in them, so there's always traumatic events, what if there's just, that causes scarring on their psyche?
Yeah.
It could definitely lead to depression, couldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I start to wonder, I think this is something that happens to police as well. I mean, there's a certain temperament for becoming a policeman.
Yeah.
Or, sorry, a policeman woman as well.
I think you have to be kind of psychopathic to a degree.
Or at least sociopathic.
You have to shut your emotions off, don't you?
Well, that's the
don't
other
feel
thing as
empathy
well.
for
I think
others
when you're
suffering.
with police and you're dealing with certain
Sometimes
members of
empathy
society
is
who are
not
lacking
useful.
control, violent, and tend to get angry at the slightest infraction, like somebody got their order of their chicken box wrong. Then you start having a dim view of all of humanity because you're not able to discern. Oh no, you're told in training that your pattern recognition is actually racist, so stop doing it because everyone's just as bad as that person at 3 in the morning who's having a fight in the chicken shop. But my point being here,
no one in
is that
particular,
police
just,
and
you know, there's
mediums
some
have a
guys at
similar
3 in the
sort of,
morning, they're in the chicken shop
it
and
takes
they're
a similar
stabbing
sort of
one
toll
another
on them because they
didn't get enough chips
grief and trauma
or enough chicken.
and I don't really have much more of a point to it than that. So
Yeah, dealing with grief's not great, is it?
Grief's not in this one. So, no, grief is in this one. So yeah. No, that's always annoying when our friends call grief as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still a
dealing
friend
with
of
grief
mine,
can be troubling.
despite Hemi's misgivings.
Yeah, and that's what these people are sort of.
He is a talented musician, and I've learned
Kind of
some stuff
back
from
to
him.
back to Doris Stokes. She kind of cultivated like a kindly old grandma kind of persona, didn't she?
Yeah, exactly. So she acted as a sort of she acted as a medium.
Now, this is the new fog
I think some of these
effects.
psychic people
Fog rendering.
are like
in the
that,
game.
that they do healing for other people but actually can't heal themselves. You know? So I think that's sort of what I'm saying is that they can turn that energy outwards and use it to benefit others, but actually when it comes to making themselves well, you know, the maybe the build up of all of that.
Yeah,
sort
that's
of,
right, Brucey. Euro Truck Simulator sells very cheap. Thoroughly recommend it.
It does pay its toll. All that grief over and over again.
I
dealing with other
did 5 hours driving yesterday. Went to the coast.
turn
Went
it
to
all in
Western
on yourself
Supermare.
and eventually
Very nice time.
Did you say Colin Fry died?
Did
of
feel a
what
bit
cancer?
tired after that.
Yeah, I think he did.
No, I'm going to have to profess my ignorance here and show what a dirt brain I'm being. But Transcend is saying that equanimity is what's missing. Powers of reaction patterns and not enough equanimity. I don't know what equanimity means.
It's like balance between
Oh, okay.
two,
Yeah.
you know, mind states.
Lung
Alright.
cancer he had.
He what? Tongue cancer.
Lung cancer.
Lung
Yeah.
cancer.
pulmonary
You know,
cancer.
turning that grief in.
April 2015 he was diagnosed. 25th of August 2015 dead.
So for people in the chat, I'm sure people here, if you're open-minded, you're going to look at this anyway, and you probably know it before I do. And if you're closed-minded, then
Later.
you're probably not listening to this show. But in the case of, I really do recommend, because it is new to me, to look up the Scole
Poland's not
experiment.
DLC.
That's spelled SCOLE.
I don't think so. Yeah, Spain is. That's the new one. I haven't got
Look it
that
up because
DLC yet. I'm waiting for it
it's
to go
one
on
of the only
sale.
proper scientific investigations I know into psychic phenomena, and it's something which I wish more work was being done with it. And I'd love to conduct a few of my own experiments as well.
But this new lorry here, this
I
DAF
can do what I
XG
can.
Plus, this is part of the game. You have to reach level 29
It does work.
to unlock it.
But I think
Very nice
there
lorry.
needs to be a bit more primary research, primary data gathered, and then someone clever can put into a database and go, oh well, this is statistically significant. Look at this curve. Look at this graph. Look at these graphs.
Yeah.
What do you think to people like the amazing Randy then? People who just
Look at this
debunk?
graph.
The amazing shift the goalposts all the time. The
Yeah.
amazing I'm not going to talk to Rupert Sheldrake. The amazing James Randall. The amazing James. I'm going to change my name because I don't want people to notice what tribe I'm from. And I'm talking about the Pacific Islanders here.
Yeah. That's what I think. I think he's.
Fuck that
I
Christ
think
kid.
he's just as bad as the people.
Jesus, Hobbit.
He is making his money ruining people's fun. And
He's just basically stamping on kids' balloons, isn't he?
yeah, but also I've said this
I
before.
really don't like
maybe
James Randi
this-
though, so I
this,
agree with him there. Or I agree with
Doris
me.
Stokes died 13 days after having an operation on a brain tube.
Yeah, so there you go. She's another.
I would
person
say-
probably turn
Going
around.
east,
I would say that James Randi is worse than someone who likes to piss on other people's parade. I'd say
Going east
he's
also
a proper
includes
Satanist,
Russia as
and what
well,
he's
so
doing is he
it's
sees other people
I like it for that
with
reason.
their latent magic abilities, and he wants to like rubbish it all and say no, there's no such thing, because I think he's one of these people that believes magic is a finite resource, and therefore he doesn't want anybody else.
He doesn't
tapping
want
into it except for
competition.
him and his cabal.
He doesn't want the
Because
competition.
he is a
so he has.
magician.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But also the stuff that the sort of stuff that he tests. I think I've said this before. You can't put it under experimental.
You can't put mediumship
Yeah,
on a slide and look at it in a microscope, can you?
No, that's it. We're talking about a almost purely subjective experience. That's the Bible.
Well, however, you can do quantifiable experiments which can be repeated, and that is the point of the Scole experiment. And that's why I had to look at something which was a bit more scientific, because, yeah, I'm interested in this stuff, but I wanted something which was a bit more concrete.
Speeding
as it were.
offence.
It's something to satisfy your autism, I bet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but you can't actually test whether somebody is say whether Doris Stokes is really talking to somebody from the spirit world. You can't test it.
No,
You can't
well,
actually test
that's-
it. And even if
Do you think,
even if you did test it, you might conclude that she's not telling the truth, but you can't actually.
Do you have the Baltic and Black Sea
No,
DLCs
because
as well?
what you're saying there, and what I agree with.
That's Randy. All he's got.
You know
All
what?
he's got to
I've
do.
got to stop in a minute's time, so what I'll do is I'll show you the map, and I'll show you what areas I've
Those
got
gremlins are
accessible.
fucked. No, what I'm trying to say, what you're saying there, is you get to a certain point where you get, for example...
Right, it's time for me to go.
Okay, there's a person that's got knowledge which no one had been able to tell them,
So
and
let's
that
see.
knowledge went to the grave with that person.
have
I'm the only one that can
all
verify
of,
it. So you get the
France.
knowledge which you go, okay, there's
Got this
definitely
bit
no
of
way that
England.
person could have known.
Got the Scandinavian
And then you have
ones.
to ask yourself,
Got
right, where did
some
they
of
get their knowledge
Russia.
from? Was it from actually the
Russia.
spirit of the departed person? Was it
Central
from
Europe.
a remnant around me,
Don't
or
have
the
this
object
bit.
which I gave them to
Oh,
handle?
well, that's not locked.
Or is it
That's-
a demon that's tormenting
That's
them?
locked. I
And
don't
then
have
it's
that
just repeating
DLC.
things to hear. So
I do have this. All of that.
all of these,
And this bit is unlocked, but I haven't bought the
all
DLC.
of these speculative things which I
Right.
just said. I'm sorry, the words are
Don't
terrible
know when the
at
Heart of
moment.
Russia's
I
coming
blame
out, but
hate.
as they've
All
just
of those
worked on
things,
Iberia,
we
it's be a while. Be right back.
we can't qualify where the knowledge comes from, but we can quantify. You can say, well, this knowledge come from here, and it's definitely not there. Or you get experiments where voices manifest in electronic devices, even if they're not plugged in, or faces and writing appears in photographic film, and in which case, I would say that is telekinesis, because the mind somewhere is manifesting into reality and physically affecting matter in such a way that you hear voices on the speaker, or you get faces in a photograph.
Yeah, but
So-
you'd need to run these things over and over again to even get get a sense of whether it's chance, you know,
And the problem is
the odds associated with it. You need to run them over and over again.
And the problem with that is the observer affects the outcome. I mean, one of the problems with the work of Dr. Emoto, I can't remember his family name, I'm sorry, but it's Dr. Emoto, and he did research into ice crystals. Absolutely fascinating stuff, because what he was doing was getting people to speak various intentions and emotion into the ice crystals, and then photographing them, and then doing research on using prayer to cure, and then quantifying the results of prayer on polluted water.
Yeah.
And the problem is, when people have replicated the experiments, they've not been able to replicate its results. And I believe what's happened there is that Dr. Emoto's observation of the water and his intention behind it, because it's like, I'm seeking to prove my hypothesis, is what got him these positive results. And likewise, I think with these mediums, it's the mediums or the conduit. They're the ones who are affecting reality around them. And it just happens to be that when someone comes into contact with them, that becomes the focus of their channeling.
Yeah.
And of course it becomes the focus of the challenge. You don't just go, oh, hey, here's the collar of my dog. And then they start saying, oh, I'm going to start talking about plants. You know, this plant here, it's really interesting. You know, this plant's telling me this and that about you. It's like, well, that's very interesting, but I want to know about my dog. So, you know, of course the medium's going to be there and just, you know, talking about the actual thing you want them to focus on. But
yeah,
I mean, it's one of those things where
it almost makes it untestable because of the fact that you have to have that person there, and they have to and you have to give them something to talk about. You can't just have any random person come in and start talking. It just the odds are then so astronomical. There's no point in doing the experiment. So you need someone who's first a medium, and then you need somebody that you need a situation that they can talk about. So, you know, you sort of it's difficult because then you're dealing with a very specific person, aren't you? So, you know, you can't and then that makes the scientists say, oh, well, this is not really proof because this one person can do it. You know, we need to be able to prove it with everybody, and it might just be that it's just certain people that can do it.
Well, that's the problem then, because then it becomes, we can't verify results of this, we can't repeat it, it's not testable, therefore it's not scientific.
That's right, yeah.
It doesn't exist.
But I'm happy to have it not be scientific. I think that's what we have to get over is the idea that it has to be scientifically provable. I prefer it not to be scientific, and then that is more exciting because now we've got a whole nother world we've got to explore that we can't explore in a way that we've explored worlds before. You know, it's a different.
All right, well,
all
I want to say with science and what proper science should be is that you're observing patterns in nature, and you're wondering, you know, if there's a correlation or causation in these patterns, and you look for the causes of them, and there's enough of this psychic phenomena that exists and is genuine, where people can go, right, we think we've seen a pattern here. Can we repeat this? Can we test it? And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and it's just one of those frustrating things, and it is frustrating. But my main thing with this is I find mediumship, and I found this quite difficult in the study, I find it disturbing because I'm thinking to myself, there's three possibilities, and the last possibility that it's a demon tormenting you and getting this information. is, I think, as equally valid as the other two postulations I put forth.
Mm.
And I don't like that idea. I don't like the idea that people, when they're dead, are being tormented. Like the fact that people, when they're alive, are being tormented. So you're fucked either way. God, no. I don't want to be so. I'm tired, and it makes me pessimistic. So
Okay.
there is a path to redemption in all of this stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's wrap it up anyway, because we've gone an hour and 10
Yeah,
minutes.
now I've finally returned and just had to restart my computer.
Oh,
The gremlins have been terrible to you today, Hemi. You must have had say some interesting stuff. So I
must have upset someone in a previous live.
Well, that's why I'm just saying, Hemi. I suspect that because I've got nothing truly controversial to say, that's why YouTube lets me on, and because Cable's being the devil's advocate skeptic in this one. So it's just a neutral and a skeptic, and you were supposed to be the balance to this, but
I was supposed to bring balance to the force, but but you've just been Darth Vader and hugged it all.
You've
and
been
you're back in the
darked.
room. Right, let's have a listen to 14
So,
words.
are we going to do a quick round table wrap up? Yes or no? Are we going to do it in that style?
yeah.
I'm up for that.
I'm gonna say yes, but with limited provisos. Basically, it's yes, but with some conditions.
Conditional yes.
A conditional
Yes.
I'm going to say more information needed.
Oh, we come towards the end of 14 words, are we?
Yeah, I think mediums run the range, don't they? I think mediums run the range from trickster to possible psychic to right at the other end actually contacting, or not right at the other end. I think contacting the dead, and right at the other end is contacting demons.
Do you think all of these mediums are human, or some of them are just like demons in human form?
I think they're human.
But just got like a foot in both worlds, in other words.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they got to be sickly, because if you've got a foot in the spirit world and you're close to, you're in the world of the dead, then you're not going to be healthy, are you?
Maybe it makes them sick.
Maybe it's the other way around. Maybe being sick gives them a link to the spirit world.
Well, that's it. Because
Bit of chicken
I
and
get
egg in that
morbid
case.
when I'm tired and when I'm sick. So I'm just wondering if it's something to do with that. But again, I'm just speculating here, and I'd like to hear more voices on this. So I'm just going to shield the forum. I think it's best for the forum, and not the Telegram group for 14 words. But we have forum.nobodyhaslearned.biz. And tell me your thoughts on mediumship. What you think it's about. Even if it's a bunch of bollocks, tell me that too.
And in Telegram, yeah. So
all
Well, I think we found out now
all opinions welcome.
the Telegram
ones I
one
disagree
out on the
with.
forum is still
we should
active.
keep the Telegram thing, everyone should just keep sending people there, because that's what's always going to be there, as opposed to like YouTube or Twitter or something like that. Because those things we just easily get kicked off. But something like Telegram, we need to
Telegram seems safer.
permanent databases of subscribers.
Although I do prefer in forums, you can
So,
create a
tomorrow
separate
night we've got
topic
the,
for each thing.
Translator.
Gilded is a good one to use. It's like an alternative to Discord, but it's
Normal
part
tea.
forum and part group discussion,
Are we
voice chat.
revealing next week's subject?
Yeah.
Next week's subject is the 88 to 89 Summer of Love.
Ecstasy,
I've had a
ecstasy.
look. I think this one's going to be entirely your baby.
I see
and I think you
it.
Hobbit are just going to be along for the ride, because
see
I can't find
it.
anything about it.
Yes, I remember that fondly. I was watching the Flying Snowman and taking my first steps.
Yes.
We'll find some juices.
Yeah.
A bit more conspiratorial next week.
Yeah.
Okay. Any
Nice
JDLEs
muted signalling on the
I
DAF
don't know.
XG Plus.
Grolt's found himself now. It's just he's got to find the time to do an episode.
That never happened.
Right. So, see you all.
Oh, Date Movies and Shows. Don't forget Date Movies and Shows.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
not sure.
That's
not
still
sure this
going
week's
on.
episode was, but last week's was. I think it was Rocky, wasn't it?
Okay. Right, I'm gonna close it. See ya.
And that's the end of 14 words. I hope you enjoyed that trip down memory lane. That was the one about mediums and all that sort of thing. I certainly enjoyed that, and I'm speeding, so let's bring the speed down to 80. Fines aren't illegal if you're rich. It's just a tip you have to pay. So, let's just carry it. Now it's 90. Let's back up to 90 then. So let's just keep on driving. Don't have much to say really. Looking forward to 7 o'clock, 14 words. It's about Purple Aki. Whoa, no, he is a spook. Whoa, watch out for him. Purple Aki. Purple Aki's watching you squat. Purple Aki's watching you lift. Watch out for Purple Aki. Because Purple Aki's watching out for you. Woo, yeah. Right, so I'm just going to look for somewhere to pull over and have a rest, and then just finish off the drive to Switzerland, get the trailer in, do some repairs, because I really got frustrated with that depot. I was just like, sod it, I don't care anymore, just ram it in. And, I mean, you know what? I'm sure there's someone who's better at this than I am. In fact, there's probably quite a lot of people better at this than I am. And I would like to see how they would have tackled reversing the trailer into that corner. Because sometimes you can't just learn by figure. Sometimes you got to learn by example. And in that case, I really would like to see the example of someone else saying like, right, you need to be in this position to start off with. You need to reverse this much straight. And then when you get to here, you need to start coming in at this angle. That would have been good. I would have liked to have seen that. But I'm not about to watch other people's Euro Truck streams. You are getting tired. You need to find a place to pull over and rest. I know. But I haven't seen any services. So I've got to keep on driving. It's not as if I can just stop on the road. It's like you can't rest here. You're on the motorway. Still driving along, still no services. And apparently I've got to come off somewhere. 200 meters time. So maybe there's a lay-by somewhere. And that'll give me a chance to read that thing addressed to my good friend Fremen on the Sand. So coming off now, there we go. End of motorways. So now, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Towards the famous Dijon, Moutarde de Dijon. Ho hi ho hi ho. Avec une sandwich de jambon, le Moutarde de Dijon. Avoid sleeping offence. Well, yeah. How about and avoid like putting adequate service stops in offence? How about that then? How about you provide more facilities so I can sleep? Piage 300 mètres. Okay, I can pull over in 300 meters. Just got to let this Russian trailer go really slowly. It's 70 here. He's being a slowpoke. Right. 300 meters. So in 300 meters time, I can pull over and I can have a rest. Well, that's parking, but that's for cars. Booger. Is there any lorry parking there? No, no lorry parking there. So, you are getting to... Yeah, I know. You say in 300 meters, there's somewhere I can park, so... Let's carry on. You know what, let's get over past this slow arsehole. He's holding me up, and I don't like it. I need to have a rest, and you're in my way. So hopefully, the service station, the lay-by, the whatever it is here, on this road. I'm just going to go maximum speed now, because I'm breaking numerous laws anyway, so I might as well be speeding on top of it. Now, some might say, hey, Hobbit, as there's not many service stops here, perhaps you should, you know, plan your route and go, okay, I'm going to stop here even though I'm not really sleepy yet, because that's the only service stop for the next 500 kilometers, which is fucking ridiculous, but there you have it. But, I mean, you know, I don't feel like route planning. I feel just like going for it and seeing what may come. So what may come is I'm going down these narrow country roads and there's no lay-bys, there's no nothing, and it's been like this for hundreds of kilometers. And this is great. This is marvellous. There's not even like some soft verge with a field I can pull over in. Although you can only pull over onto a soft verge if you have the owner's permission. So on we keep on driving with no end in sight. I'm probably going to get to the actual depot before I find a place to pull over and have a rest. It's like, well done, you're now in Geneva. Okay, so you write a long message and then you delete it before I get a chance to read it. Here's an idea. How about, like, if you don't want me to read something, don't publish it in the first place. Do that. Otherwise I'm just going to call you a dickhead, because now I'm going to be wondering, like, what has he written? Oh, hi Alphabet Cat. I've been doing a lot of shunting back and forth. This current load which I'm driving has been very frustrating. To load it was impossible, couldn't figure it out, so I skipped the loading part, and now I've been driving on for hundreds of kilometers, but yes, in 200 meters time, there's finally somewhere for me to pull over and have a rest. So, gonna do that. It says no entry, but that doesn't apply to me because fuck you, that's why. Ah. And it says that the, Alright, let's go forwards and around. Nordic, I don't know because I don't know what case you've got, so I don't know what the dimensions of that case are. Main thing to do is look at the graphics card you're trying to get, or whatever component it is. I don't know what 1600 Super is. And then it should have the dimensions in the product description. And then you go, alright, so it's this, this and this. And then you measure it. Because I have done this before. In fact, you know what? What, don't I have a forward fucking gear? Come on. A bit frustrating. I've done it before. I bought a... What was it? I think it was my 970 actually, which Hemi's got. And it wouldn't fit my case. So I had to get a new case in order to fit it. And the really annoying thing is... It wasn't by much. It was like, it was half a centimetre too long. And I was like, ah, crap. And I was hoping it was going to be like the previous graphics card I had, which did fit. But I had to take off the metal bracket which was on the end of it. Right, so here we go. And that's why you're not supposed to enter it from the other way around. But anyway, stop there and do that. Right. Now. I'm basically the Pablo Escobar of routiers, so I'm not too concerned about a police car and him seeing me doing an illegal manoeuvre. It's just like, look, if I don't do this, I am going to fall asleep from exhaustion, so how about I get into that parking space and you leave me be so I can have an uninterrupted night's sleep as I drive into your country. You don't want you driving into your country agitated because you were trying to hassle me as I was trying to sleep. Do you now? No, you do not want that. So how about you let me go without let or hindrance and deliver these valuable potted flowers which the Swiss people want so much. And now it's 80 here, so let's bring it down to 80. And after this, I'm gonna stop driving because my frustration is mounting, and yeah. So I just need a bit more windscreen, and then I think when I'm ready for it, I'm gonna do. I don't think I'll be simulcasting 14 hours. I don't want to do any more driving today. But come Friday, I'm going to do some more study, some more Euro trucking, get myself ready for that inevitable training date. And I can start earning some real world money again. Because despite my best intentions of saving, my money's going down, not up. And yeah. Although that said, I seem to have made it gone quite far, quite a long time, so I'm pleased about that. Let's get past him. Oh, it's 50 here, okay. Let's get down to 50. There we are. 50 kilometers an hour. That's my garage, that's not where I'm stopping. Although, I will go past there in order to refuel. So, let's go there. Go to this one. Tick, 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 tick. Let this guy go past. Right. Yeah, this one here. Well, this is not too bad. So, before I do this, I'm gonna go and connect to the Discord, see if anyone's around, say hello, and go and doodling general, that's it. I'm in general now, so anyone Mind you, yeah, I'm in the right one. So let's... Oops, nope, didn't mean to do that. That's where it wants me to be. Okie doke, let's go for it.
Oh, Pete.
Hello, Nordic. How do's?
Hi.
I'm good. I went to Western Supermare yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Really good time, actually. Had some fish and chips at the end of it as well.
Oh, nice. You didn't get any seagulls trying to steal your chips, did you?
No, I ate indoors and, really fresh. It was a nice taste to it as well.
Good.
Yeah. And, yeah, so I went to Sand Bay. There was about 4 couples in the entire stretch of the beach. It was absolutely beautiful. So if ever you're in Western Supermare and the beach and the town's looking crowded, get yourself to Sand Bay, and it's parking's really cheap. If you want an all-day ticket, £2.50. If you want to if you want to be there for like 2 hours, £1.
Not bad at all.
It's good prices. Yeah, the Somerset people aren't silly with their prices. And you're not too far from Cheddar Gorge either, which I'd love to go and visit sometime.
Is that where they found that cheddar man?
Cheddar man.
Is 500 quid reasonable for a 2060?
No, it is not. That is an absolute rip-off. I can't believe they're getting away with charging that price as well.
That's on overclockers.
So, a brand new 2060, retail price... Fucking hell.
What's retail price?
Fuck me. £600.
Jesus!
I mean, it's no wonder the CEO was driving around in a Bugatti if that's what prices he's charging. Bloody
Jesus Christ.
A 2060 is nothing special either. It's a good car, don't get me wrong, but like the most I would pay for a 2060 is £150. That's 4 times the asking price. It's supposed to be a mid-range car.
Wankers.
But I even remember when it was new and they were charging like, it's £300 for a 2070, right? And I thought, that's a bit steep. Come on, I mean it's a 2070, you know. It's like that's like the mid-high-end cars, and then you got the 2080, and that's the high end. The 80s always seem to be high end. I mean, actually, you know, the funny thing is, I was looking at a curiosity, like if I wanted to get a Radeon 9800 Pro, which back in like 2000, was it 2002 it came out, that card was hot shit. It was one of the few times ATI made something better than Nvidia, and you're looking at like £200 for that card now, and it's like 19 years old. But the thing is, you look at the next thing up, like the X800, and those the prices of the X800s, which are an AGP graphics card, they're a fraction of the price of the 9800. And the thing is, in every single way possible, it's better. I'm pretty sure it's compatible with all the games that the 9800 is compatible with. But it's not a collector's item because people's like, yeah, but I want that one. And unfortunately, when you've got collector's market, why am I fucking up with this trade? This job has been nothing but a hassle. I've not enjoyed this.
Well, it's exactly the same as the new Nvidia graphics cards. Like they're like over £1,000 now. Like the Nvidia is laughing all the way to the bank.
Oh yeah. I mean, the thing is, those 2060s they're doing, they're new. They're not old stock. They're actually like manufacturing those. So those have been made this year. And it's just like they're doing it to try and fill in something in the market, but it's. I mean, I can't say it's criminal. It's.
Well, they're coming out with new ones soon, aren't they? With a lower hash rate.
Yeah. Well, that all their new cards low light hash rate.
Well,
Hang on. I've got right. Oh fuck's sake! No, that's happening. Great. Okay.
things are happening. No.
Yeah, I've detached from my trailer. I didn't mean to do that. I meant to just put the parking brake on. So let's get back in.
Just keep going then.
And right. So now that's on. Engine off. Unload the bloody potted plants. And I hated everything about that. No, I did. It's strange. So I want to go to... There's my garage, it's there.
Do I want to have my texture filtering quality on standard, high, or performance?
Depends on what game you're playing, and what I really would suggest you do is, have you got an FPS counter on?
No.
Okay, is it a Steam game?
I'm looking in my AMD Radeon settings. I'm not actually on a game.
Oh, right, oh, okay. It depends on per game. I never bother with, like, override game settings using this.
Yeah.
But like you go in the game, you have your FPS counter on, Steam comes with one, and you just try the various settings on and off until you find something acceptable frame rate. Like right now with the rain and stuff, I'm getting 75 FPS.
Alright.
Yeah.
I think mine caps out at about 60 at the minute, but that's because I haven't got a decent graphics card.
Or it could be that the monitor, because it could be frame limited to your monitor. My one goes up to 144.
Yeah, see, this is a TV, so it's stuck at 59.
Well, yeah, okay. Parking brake on. Okay, there we go.
59 hertz is not productive.
Well, I mean, like, most stuff looks pretty good at 60, but oh, bugger me, I'm not doing good at this. Right, go back inside. Go.
I don't think I will buggy you, to be fair, Hobbit. Purple Aki might. You start doing them squats.
Yeah. Spooky Purple Aki. Woo.
Squat for Aki, mate.
He's watching you squat. Woo. Right, so stop there. Engine off. And let's refill with the D. Oh, that's the point. I was going to restart my computer so I could have the RGB back on. I turned it off for like about a month, and I was like, you know what? I paid money for that, and I miss it, so I want it. So let's reload. Yeah, 1,000 litres. That's very nice. Cost me 1,100 euros. Very good. Right, that's it. I'm done with the game. That's as much as I want to do today. Thank you for watching. 40 words is on the usual time. 40 minutes time. I don't actually know what channel it's going to be on. So stay tuned. Spooky. Woo. Bye.